Hi, everyone. God, lost my voice. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and I'm going to do a fairly short video on the Missy Bevers case. I was asked to do this by quite a few people, and interesting enough, I think a number of those people wanted me to do this because they want me to agree with the suspect that they believe committed the crime. Um, and I kind of don't work that way, but I get where they're coming from. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this case and why I think this case hasn't been solved. And it's interesting. When I looked at this case, I actually came up with my viewpoint within like 5 minutes, which is kind of unusual for me. I was like, okay, I think this is what it is. And then I'm like, okay, I need to back off. I need to actually do due diligence, and I should investigate further and make sure I'm looking at this correctly. So I looked at quite a few videos. I've looked at quite a few websites. I've gotten many opinions. I've been to YouTubers. I've been all over the place to try to see whether I could find other information that would sort of knock me off of what I was thinking. And I can't say that that happened. So I'm going to now go through the case with you and exactly what I think did happen and why this case hasn't been solved. So let's get to it. But just before I do, I just want to mention very quickly, because this channel does need support to stay alive, please do subscribe. Hey, you can always unsubscribe, but please subscribe. Please hit the bell so you get notifications. Please share it with people, and it costs you nothing. If you want a little bit more involvement, please do support through Patreon. The link is below, and you can always buy one of my books. Okay, that's that. Now I'm going to get to the case. What exactly happened? For you who do not know, I'm going to read you the smallest little story about this, because it's not one of these cases that I have that I need to spend 2 hours on. This is my personal opinion. Not that it isn't a horrific case, but I think it's very focused on what you see behind me, which is this guy walking through the church in which Missy Bevers was murdered. So I'm going to give you the quick lowdown on this. This happened in Midlothian, Texas, nearly 5 years ago. And I believe I'll read it's 2016. So yeah, 5 years ago, nearly 5 years after the still unsolved murder of a North Texas fitness instructor. She was a fitness instructor. She did fitness classes, fabulous shape, having a great life. Police are still looking for new leads, which is, keep in mind, new leads. So this is very important, new leads. Because if you know who did it, if you know that the whoever killed her was connected to her, those probably aren't new leads. I'll be discussing that. Missy Bevers was killed in the early morning hours of April 18th, 2016 at a church in Midlothian, southwest of Dallas. She was setting up to lead a fitness class at the time. And it's important to know that that fitness class normally is inside the building, but it was, it's outside. I'm sorry. Normally it's outside the building, but she had to bring it in because, as she pointed out on her, I think this was her Facebook page or wherever she put this up, if it's raining, we're still training. So she was telling the people, we're going to still have the class, but it will be inside. And it's a 5 a.m. class. Kind of class I wouldn't go to because I don't get up that early. But bully for her, and the people who went to the class, they wanted to be healthy. And so she did these wonderful classes very early in the morning. So what happened was security cameras captured video of one person dressed in what looked like police gear wandering the halls of the church. This is what you see behind me. That person is a suspected killer, and he's never been identified, or as many people say, she has never been identified, because there is an argument over whether this is a male or a female because of the way that the suspect is walking. So that's very important. So anyway, what happened is, this is the guy, and she arrived. Let me see if I can get the time here. She arrived at 4:18 in the morning, planning to set up her exercise stuff and get the whole thing ready. But this guy was already there in the church. He was already there about 3:50 a.m. and wandering about almost a half an hour before she even showed up. And then her class was at 5, and there was a guy who showed up early because you can do that. And he couldn't get in because there's a special procedure, pressing some button, and he didn't know that. So he stood outside. And then the rest of the people came. And when they got there, they found that she had been murdered. Okay, so who is this guy, and why would Missy Bevers be brutally murdered that morning? As far as how she was murdered, it's a little hazy there. She had supposedly puncture wounds in chest and head, although it is also stated, not by the police, that she was also shot with a gun. Okay, that to me is not as important as the behavior of this guy or female that we see behind me. So now I'm going to get into there's 4 different basic theories of this particular case, and I'm going to sort of go through them and tell you why I do or do not believe they have any validity. All right, I'm not going to necessarily use names of people because there's no point in it, really. So anyway, this is this guy wandering around. And before I continue, if you have never seen this guy or gal, I got to keep saying that, wandering about, I'm going to play a very short, well, it's a short video, so it's like 2 minutes. Please stay tuned. I also want to give credit to the person who put this video up because it kind of fixed it a little bit. His name is Tom Coville, Covil. He has a YouTube channel called Gumshoes Stories, and I will link it below because I like, of all the people and all the websites and all the YouTube stuff I looked at, I find he is the most rational. And so I'm going to give a thumbs up to Tim, because this is the first time I've seen his stuff, and he says he's a journalist, and he's very, very interested in this particular case. I don't know his background or anything, but I'm going to say the most logical person on this case. So I appreciate that, and also I'm using this video, so I do want to give credit to that. All right, so here is the video of the guy walking through. This is before Missy arrives. This is like 30 minutes before. He's just walking through here, and it's very important to see how the suspect, he or she, is walking through. Pay attention. Okay, so there we have it. You've seen him walking about. Now let me show where he's walking about, or I keep saying he, so I should say they, because theoretically this person has not been identified with male or female. So anyway, they were walking around. I want to show you just a quick shot of the inside of the church. Let me show you the outside for a minute. Okay, this is Creekside Church. This is where she was. This wasn't her church. This is where she did her exercise classes. Now you see right over here, let me see if I can get my hand over there. Hey, move over there. Yeah, there. That's the front of the church. That would be the main entrance where she went through. Now, I'll show you two different pictures just so you can sort of get a vague idea. So anyway, right here is the main entrance where she came through. He, on the other hand, came in through this. I hope I'm not wrong, so somebody will correct me if I am. But he came through, broke through a window, opened up a door, and went into this area. So he wasn't coming in the main entrance. He was over here, and he went, and this was a kitchen area. And she eventually her body was found over here, by the way, just so you know where that is. Now I'm going to throw the other picture up here. And the reason I want to show you this is because if he came over here, then what seems to have happened is that he went up here and then he came back down and then he went around and then he came back around. And it seems to me what he was doing was looking in all the rooms, pulling all the doors. He went and sort of did all the outside doors, and he went up here, and then he smashed some window around here, and one of the rooms, I think it was a storage room, and then he went back around here. Okay, that's basically what he did for a really long time, and this is very, very important to me as to behavior of criminals and their motives and their mentality. So let's go back to what is he doing? All right. Now, let me tell you the four basic theories, and I will then go through each one of them very quickly. First one is that Missy she was married for many years, had 3 children, supposedly there were some marital issues. And so one theory is that her husband wanted her gone, and it turned out his alibi is solid. He wasn't even in town. So then people focused on the father-in-law, like, hey, he's going to help his son out by knocking off Missy. And the reason they did that is because of the way this person walked. And if you were watching that, you saw that kind of weird, that especially the right foot kind of like the person walked like a sort of a duck, but the right foot was like really strange. Now, some people will say that's because whoever did this dressed up in this fake outfit and they put on extra big boots, and therefore they couldn't walk properly. I'm more inclined to think that the reason they couldn't walk properly is that they're just a duck walker, because a lot of people are. And the other possibility is that the foot wasn't moving properly. This is actually a kind of a common thing with motorcycle accidents, that you have damage to the ankle, the foot, and you get something ends up having to be fused, and then you walk funny. And so it's possible the person is a motorcycle rider who had an accident. I don't know that, but I'm just saying that could be one of the reasons the foot is funny. So if I were a police investigator, I might be looking into people who might have a motorcycle, maybe even arrived at this location on a motorcycle. So, but the first theory is that the husband wanted Missy gone, so either his daddy knocked her off or he hired a hitman. Now, let's go to the hitman first, okay? Now, hitmen do a thing called assassinate you. They know what they're doing. The point for them is to get it done and get it done quickly. That's the point. Now, Missy arrives at, let's say somebody told the hitman, oh, she's going to be arriving at such and such a time approximately. So he arrives, this is theoretically, this guy arrives like 30 minutes before and is just wandering about the building. Now, I know it's raining outside, but you're a hitman. You can wear a raincoat. And the two places you want to get Missy is when she's getting out of her vehicle, because the first thing you want to know is that she's alone. So when you see her vehicle pull in to the parking lot and you see her get out, this is your time, because she's going to take some time to get out. She's got to get out of the car. She's got to shut the door. Maybe she has equipment to bring or whatever. First, I think believes she first came and opened the church door. But she gets out of the vehicle. There's time to kill somebody right there and then. If you want to make it look like a robbery, all you do is go in and steal their stuff after the fact. You steal their purse, whatever. She's dead on the ground. The door is open to the car. Her purse is gone. Somebody will think it's a robbery. That's a hitman. Second thing he can do is he can lurk around wherever he thinks she's going to go to the front entrance of that church. Let's go back. Let's look at the front entrance of the church again. There's my church. Okay, she's coming in here. Sorry, it's hard on a green screen. You have to point in weird directions. There's the front entrance. He can lurk around. It's dark. It's rainy. And he sees her going there with a key. She's going to take time to open the door. Another time, shoot the woman. Go back to her car, steal her purse. Again, make it look like she was robbed. That's what a hitman would do. Okay, let's assume, however, the idea is that the hitman is going to be inside, which seems pointless to me. But okay, he's inside. Now the problem is this, and this is the same problem for some of the people who think that the father-in-law, because he also kind of walked like a duck, let's face it, he does have a weird gait, that he was the one who killed Missy, even though he was actually in California at the time. She was murdered in Texas. So it doesn't really work. But okay, let's say he hadn't been in California and we don't know he was there. Okay. Now you've got either the hitman or you've got father-in-law who couldn't have done it. Okay. In the building. All right. Now, this guy is wandering about the building for 30 minutes. If you want to kill somebody, you want to be watching. If you're inside the building, you want to be watching out the front door, because you want to look out the door and say, when is she coming? Okay, I see a car pulling in. Is it Missy? Is it Missy with somebody else? Do we have two people there? Do we have three people? Oh, is it Missy in one car? And my God, there's another car there too. Now we got two cars. You don't want to make a mistake of not knowing what you're going to be dealing with. You want to make sure that you got the one lady who's going to come to the front door and open it. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be peeping out the window, waiting, because you don't know exactly when she's going to arrive. You're not going to be wandering around a building playing with doors. You're going to be waiting until she arrives. And if you're inside the building, you're going to then park yourself in a location so when she walks through that door, bam, you take care of her. Or you stab, you take care of her. Or if you did have a hammer, bang, bang, you take care of her. That's when you do it, because you have a job to accomplish. You don't want to be caught way back in this building somewhere, and you don't know if she's come through the door with a bunch of other people. Now, the other thing is, if this dude or a woman is opening up doors, moving stuff around. If Missy comes through the front entrance and she sees things are disturbed, what she may do, if she has that cell phone on her, what I would do is go, oh my God, something looks fishy here. I would A, back out of there and go to my car as quickly as possible. And B, I'd be calling 911 to say, looks like somebody's broken into the church. That's what I would be doing. So it makes no sense for a killer to be wandering around for 30 minutes far away from the front entrance so that he doesn't even know when she's arriving. He doesn't even know if she's arriving with somebody because he's wandering around the church somewhere. That makes no sense. So I'm going to say there's no professional hitman. Nobody from her family did this. So we'll throw that out. The next one, which is a very popular theory, is that this is actually a female. I can see why some people say that, because there is kind of sometimes more of a feminine look, but hey, there's some dudes who just walk like that. Okay. So some people think this is a female, that she disguised herself like this so that nobody could recognize her. You actually can do that with some jeans and a hoodie and a ski mask, but okay, you want to get fancy. All right, so you do all this, and you have some jealousy thing about Missy, or you think she's messing with your man, or whatever you might think the reason is, this is one hell of a project, because you might be jealous or think somebody's messing with your dude. This is one hell of a project. You got to buy all these items or borrow all these items. By the way, as far as if this is not official police tactical wear, you can go to Amazon or eBay, or you can go to like a bail enforcement seminar like I did once, because I was investigating bail enforcement guy, and I bought some really cool shit. Just look just like this. And the reason these guys buy this stuff is because they want to be cool. They want women to be awed by it. They want to walk around going, oh, I'm bail enforcement, or whatever. I'm police, or I'm FBI, because it impresses people. And some guys who are psychopathic like to impress people with their connections to the police that they don't actually have. But Okay. So the theory is that this might be a woman, and she wants to do in Missy, and so she's wandering around this building, killing time. Well, this person who's supposedly wandering around for 30 minutes is checking every door and trying to pry one of the doors open. This would be very unusual behavior for a female who's just in a rage. She's in a rage. She wants to kill that Missy. Oh, but I think I'm just going to wander around the building. I'm not even going to be. When you're going to murder somebody, it's pretty intense. You're not usually blasely wandering around checking stuff out that has no meaning to you. Oh, some people say, well, she wanted to look like she was police, or that this was a robbery. So opening doors and break something makes it look like a burglary, not a robbery. By the way, in case you don't know the difference, burglary is when you go into a building and burgle it. Robbery is when you attack a person and rob them. Building person. Anyway, so this is a burglary gone wrong. So she's faking this burglary gone wrong to attack Missy. And yet again, she's nowhere near the entrance. So she doesn't know if Missy's coming in with other people or going to call on the phone. Some people think, well, once she runs into Missy, she'll say, I'm police. And Missy will go, cool, you're checking out the place. It's kind of an unrealistic, Hollywoodized kind of version of, this is not the way people act. This is just not the way things are done. I don't buy it for a minute. The behaviors here that I'm saying do not represent a quote crime of passion, which doesn't exist anyway, but a hatred crime where a psychopathic female is going to kill off some rival of some sort. And she's going to wander around for 30 minutes doing all this play stuff and not even be near the door to see Missy arrive. Don't even know if Missy is out there or who's with her. I mean, it makes no sense. Okay. I'm sorry. Not that. So then we come down to, what is this? And I'm going to say, when I look at the behavior of this particular person wandering about, they're very, very tactical in how they're going around the church, checking every door. That represents to me somebody who works in security. This is what you do when you do private security. You work office building or whatever you work. And one of your jobs is every so often you're supposed to walk around the building and check things out to make sure everything is, okay, that there's nothing broken into, nobody out. You go around, you check the hallways, you check the doors. That's what you do in security. And let me tell you, there's a lot of police wannabes in security. Security jobs are actually the number one jobs of serial killers. People don't realize that, but it's true, because they love the power and control. Now, most of the time, they don't get an armed security job because they can't pass the psych test or they can't pass the whatever test they got to pass to get the weapon. So a lot of guys just end up being mall security, office security that don't require, not an armed guard. You're just a guard. And because there's so many businesses, malls, office buildings, parking garages, oh my God, there's so many places that need security. If you breathe, it's your job. You breathe, it's your job. And now, doesn't mean you can't have an illegal weapon with you when you're running around playing I want a cop wannabe thing here. You can have a weapon. Nobody can stop you from getting that. Well, they can, but you can buy it illegally. And so, yeah, the whole behavior of this particular person to me is security work. Now, and why do I think he was there? Do I think this? And by the way, I'm going to get to this point right now. I think this is a dude. I'm sorry. There's very few. First of all, there are females in security, but not too many females in security and burglary and into this. I want to be cop thing. That's pretty rare. I'm not saying it couldn't be true. I'm just saying probably isn't. I'm going to go with a dude who's in security. Maybe rides a motorcycle and hurt his foot. Can't prove those things, but that's just what I lean toward. Now, what is he doing there? Well, there's two possibilities. One is he wants to rob the place. It is Monday morning, and it's very early in the morning. Sunday could have brought in some money to the church. He might have thought there was cash. There was a lot of talk about, hey, he didn't actually take anything. Well, he may not have found anything, or he may have been interrupted when Missy came in. He's like, oh, crap, suddenly there's a woman there, and he assaults her, and then, he's got to get the heck out of there. Doesn't have time to finish the job, or he just didn't find anything. Or people don't talk about this. He's not. He carries like a white box at some point. I don't know what that was, and we don't see it with him later. But he's wearing a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, but I do know how to take stuff and do this. He does too. He could always he could find money and put it in there. He could find whatever he finds and put it in there. Or, some of these guys who are this kind of guy, who kind of cop wannabes, and maybe they want to do burglaries. They might burgle a place just for the amusement of it. Let me get the feel of it. Let me walk through and see what I can come up with. Maybe I'll come up with something. If I don't, I'll find another place. Maybe. This would be a psychopath, and psychopaths often just like to amuse themselves. This might be an amusement. And arriving at the time he did, which, what was it, 3:50 in the morning? He probably thought nobody was going to show up there. I mean, for God's sakes, it's 3:50 on Monday morning. Who the heck is going to come out there? I mean, I wouldn't think so if I were wanting to burgle a place. I'm going to roll around back. I'll smash a window and I'll walk in. I'll just wander around very confidently and calmly, walking around as if not worried about a thing. Probably because he never thought anybody would show up there till at least 8 in the morning. So if he took an hour to wander around, big deal. No alarm system there. Didn't go off. Maybe he smashed something and stepped back and just, see if there was going to be anything happening. Came in through not through the front, so hidden. I don't know where the vehicle was. I doubt he walked because it's kind of isolated, but could have had a motorcycle there, could have had a car there. There is a car that's running around in some other location nearby earlier, and people say, "Oh my God, that's him." I don't believe so for a minute. I don't see what I don't see any real connection to it. But hey, the police have to check it out. Okay. But here he is. He's wandering around this building, and suddenly, because he's not near the front entrance, so I don't believe he thought anybody was coming in. And all of a sudden, he's back somewhere in this building, and there's a woman walking through the front entrance, and he's like, "Oh my God." Now, some people say, well, why would he just, if he's covered this way and she wouldn't know who he is, why didn't he just run out? Who knows? Maybe she confronted him. Maybe she came in front of him and he had a hammer in his hand. You're a psychopath. You're not exactly necessarily, adverse to whacking somebody with the thing. And then you think, oh crap, she's on the ground. Oh damn, whatever. I don't know what the autopsy report is. I don't know what the exact police report is to know what exactly happened and how she died. But if a psychopathic creature like this, can just pretty much do anything. Now, there was one other suspect, which I thought was an interesting suspect, but apparently nothing came of it. And that would be, where'd he go? Oh, and I've lost him. Okay, where'd he go? This would be Bobby Wayne Henry, only one I'll mention just because he deserves to be mentioned. He was a licensed security guard. He was an ex-cop, a licensed security guard, and he was suspended from the police force in 1996 due to an aggravated sexual assault allegation. He was later arrested on unrelated charges to both the sexual assault and Missy's case. He wasn't arrested for this case, but they were like, dude's weird. And he apparently also ended up being security at her funeral, which is just freaky as all get out. So, however, he is free now. Okay. But he's the kind of guy I'd be looking at. Security guard. Casing the joint. Looking at all the places. He acts like a security guard. I can't get past that. And so I do not think that Missy Bevers was targeted. I know people want to believe that. They have people they don't like, that they think this person's creepy, this guy's creepy, this woman's creepy. I'm sure they hated Missy and wanted to get her. I see no evidence of that at all. I see this as somebody was already there and Missy came upon the scene. And I can't get away from that. I'm fairly confident of that. I could be wrong. I'm not going to say, I can't be proven wrong. But I don't see any logic in a person coming that early or wandering around a building nowhere near. If the person was near the entrance looking out, if the person was just hiding in there, I could say, okay. But they weren't. They were just wandering about, looking and doing what a security guard / burglar would do, checking everything out. That's not what somebody who is untrained in committing murders is going to do before they murder a woman. That's not what they're going to do. And a hitman isn't going to do that either, because he's like, I'm not wasting my time with that garbage. And I'm not going to take the chance. I'm going to wait for her in a location where I can take her out and be gone. So I'm sorry, guys, who think that it's somebody she knows, that somebody hated her. I think that, sadly, Missy Bevers wandered into an unfortunate situation and got killed in just kind of like they came together, and this whoever it was freaked out on her and like did her in, because this guy's a psychopath. I think it's a man, but the guy's a psychopath, and psychopaths do things very impulsively. And then they go, oh crap, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean he's a hitman. It just he can do things impulsively. So that's my theory on this case. I think Missy just walked in on something. It's very, very unfortunate. And this is the exact reason I believe the case is unsolved today. Most cases are solved because you have a link to somebody. So let's say there was truly a link to the family, or truly a link to somebody a woman who didn't like her messing with her man. This person, there would be ways to go to that person's house and check everything out for blood evidence, for the car, for the vehicle evidence, for weapon evidence. There'd be all of that, and alibis. The police have not come up with anybody connected to Missy Bevers that has that stuff. So I think what they're stuck with is they don't know who this is. And when you have a stranger homicide, something freaky like this, it's very hard, unless they actually just drop their driver's license or something. It's very hard to find out who the heck this is. You just don't know. And so these years pass and you're like, So what are the police doing? They're hoping for a break. They're hoping that if a gun was used, because I don't have this on the police, if a gun was used to shoot Missy Bevers, they're hoping maybe the gun will be used in another crime and they can check the ballistics. And if they know who did the other crime, then they'll know who did this one. They're hoping somebody will rat somebody out at some point. They just don't know. And, when you have stranger homicides, it's very difficult sometimes to solve these crimes. They were lucky to even get a video, but apparently that just didn't do enough. And so that's my take on this crime. I just think that maybe people need to stop accusing people that were in contact with Missy of having killed her, because that's, it's a pretty brutal thing to have to live with, to have people saying that, you've committed such a brutal homicide when there's nothing actually connecting you to it. So I know that's not the answer a lot of people who asked me to do this wanted, but it's what I come up with. I'm coming up with, looks like a guy who does security work, maybe had a motorcycle accident, messed up his foot, and probably was here just kind of doing reconnaissance on the place, hoping maybe come across something that was worth stealing, a burglary in action or a reconnaissance in action, whatever's in his little psychopathic brain. And Missy just walked in and was collateral damage, shall we say, collateral damage. So anyway, thank you for being here. And I hope to see you again watch my other videos.